Hello and welcome back to the Dr. Nilda Business Foresight Show. I am so excited once again to have another fabulous guest, and I always bring you the best of the best. And here today with me is Michael Martinez. So Michael Martinez is the CEO of A-Rated Investigations, Inc. This is a private investigation firm, kind of like Columbo. They're dedicated to exploring infidelity, matrimony, polygraphs, security cameras, cell phone, iPads, which I didn't think they can do. I didn't even realize that that's a possibility. They do insurance fraud, drone surveillance, and so much more. So he is a licensed private investigator in Northern Jersey, and he was formerly in law enforcement, and started investigation there, and then he went to an investigating law firm, and since then he's been dedicated to helping people, search or find and explore and investigate, their situations. But namely for him is the Latino community. So here with us is Michael Martinez. Thank you so much.
Thank you for welcoming me over to this program. It is a pleasure to be here.
It's fabulous to have you here. So, and of course, I always ask questions, and I want to talk a little bit about your history. You have a very, very interesting history, which we talked about off camera, and I want to share that with the audience because oftentimes, things happen in our lives, and our inclination is to say, well, that person will never make it. Mm-hmm. And we do that oftentimes to whole communities. Like, if you come from that side of town, or if you come from that area, nothing good can come out of there, or, nothing good can come out of that. Mm-hmm. And you defied that. And so I want you to tell me a little bit about your history.
Well, first of all, when I was a little baby, I had many heart conditions. I had a murmur, which basically put me in a very, very bad position where I almost died multiple times. Thanks to God that I was able to basically overcome that within time. I ended up being in a foster home because after living in the hospital for almost 3.5 years, I ended up being put in a foster home. I lived there. Literally, I was the baby for Passaic General Hospital in Passaic, New Jersey. I was the baby there. Okay. Their baby. We'll put it that way. Yeah. So I ended up working there later on, many years. But before going into that, I was with the foster home. I was put into another home because they couldn't have me there because they had a daughter that was a dancer, and they had enough responsibilities with her. So for that reason was that they said they had to return me back. And when they returned me back to the foster care, which this for the state then replaced me in another home. There's Milagros and Josue Matos. They're the ones that basically raised me since I was 3.5 years old.
Okay. So prior to that, you really have no recollection of like doing those moves from the hospital to a foster home back to the hospital.
No. I was a baby. I was a little boy. You have no idea the feeling of that. You're just thinking that's your family. That's
right.
And then as time was going by, we're going around 6 years old of age. My mom, Milagros, basically said, I've been told by the state that I have to tell you how old. Not how old, where your real parents are, because I'm not your real parent. I have to tell you that because this is required by the state.
Okay. So how was that for you? Like, how was that experience?
For me, it was very painful. It was painful because then you're starting to think about, well, then who are my parents? Who are my real parents? Right. Who's my family? Do I have brothers? Do I have sisters? Right. And these questions came into my mind.
Right.
After a time, they did ask for me. They wanted to see me.
The parents?
My real parents wanted to see me. At that point, I decided to say, you left me in the hospital. In my sense, I was looking, you abandoned me, which is exactly what it was. And I just said, well, I don't think you really need to see me at that point.
And how old were you at this point?
I would say like 9 years old.
Okay.
Because the state gives you a particular period of time of age as when you should be able to be told, who are your real parents.
Okay.
Or else I could be, later on 15, and then you tell that to the child, and they're going to be like, oh, now you tell me after 15 years.
Okay.
So, the child wouldn't really understand around that time. So.
Okay. So these foster parents pretty much raised you until about what age?
16 and a half years old.
And at 16 and a half years old, you're still a child.
Yes.
What happened then?
My parents said at that point, you've always been talking about wanting to leave your home. You wanted to be out there and be independent, was the word, independent. And I was always telling her that.
Right.
Well, she says, well, your dad and I got a job, as supers, and we're going to be moving up, but the only difference is that's going to be one bedroom. So there's not going to be room for you and neither their son. So
their biological son.
Yes.
Okay.
So they said, you guys have to figure out what you're going to do. You have to figure out where you're going to move to.
16.
They're 16 and a half years old, and I was like, wow. I thought that came a little too fast for me because I wanted to go to college. That's what I had in mind.
Okay.
And if I would have had gone to college, I probably would have been a prosecutor or a defense attorney.
Okay.
That was my drive.
Okay.
At that time. Apparently that didn't happen. So I ended up, we ended up getting a room in Passaic Park on Acre Avenue, to be exact. And I lived there on 309 Acre Ave for 5.5 years. But her son left after 5 months after being there and ended up really being independent and still going to school.
Wow.
So it was a challenge, but I liked school. So that was what really intrigued me.
Okay. So then, let's fast forward. Now, then you became, how did you get involved in law enforcement?
Well, after I first got a job in the hospital, working part-time and still going to school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I like to work. So I like this. That's in me.
I know.
I don't want to be bored.
Yeah, right.
So I ended up going to Passaic General Hospital, not letting them know who I was. I didn't want them to know that I was Little Mickey, the Passaic General child, that they knew. I didn't want to use that. I wanted to get in myself as a person, not as somebody that is well recognized in the place. So I did get a job there. I worked in the maintenance department, maintenance engineer department. That's what they called it, and basically doing repairs for beds and all sorts of mechanical things in the hospital. I had all the keys, and I was a combination watchman. So I was the youngest watchman in the hospital. Passaic General, and then I worked from that department and went into the X-ray department as a transporter, in transporting X-rays up and down for several months, and then finally I got into security, which is one.
So this was your passion. Now you're beginning to take that path into
Yes.
So then you were doing security, and then you left the hospital. Is that what you did?
No, I stayed in security for approximately a year and a half. And then finally, I had an opportunity to go work for the sheriff's department in Patterson. When that came through, because I got involved with politics, and as I got involved with politics, I started seeing that with politics you can have ways in getting into different positions and so forth. So I used the political card, you could say, the ACE card, and I got involved and got a job in the sheriff's department.
Okay.
I worked there until I was like there.
A job. When you say a job, were you a police officer?
Correctional officer.
Oh, correction. Yes. Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So I worked with. There were approximately at that time 650 inmates. They had also maximum security, medium security, and just general population.
Okay.
So I worked there. It was very interesting, but they worked a lot of hours. I used to work a lot of double shifts.
Yeah.
And then I ended up buying a new car and moved up until finally I got hit by a car. 5 months into it, and got a broken tibia bone. I ended up in the hospital, and after that, had to recover. Took me 8 months to recover. So
what happened to you during this time? Like, who was taking care of you? Where were you living?
At that time I had to move back to I moved back to where the foster parents were, but that was only a condition until I was able to get recovered from the injury. After that, because I still wanted to be independent. I wanted to be under mom's wings.
Especially since you have been away from them for a while.
Exactly.
Like now you knew what independence felt like.
Exactly, and I really grew into it. So I then ended up moving out of their home, and then going back into another home on the same street. It was the house next to it, and there was an attorney who basically owned the home, but he basically was divorced and he needed someone to take care of the home and be able to live there. So I ended up renting there and taking care of the home and lived there. That's when, from there on, I got into the Passaic Police Department. I worked for Passaic Police.
Okay, okay. So, so that was kind of, that was already, you were already on that road to investigations, law enforcement, and so how long were you there, and when did you realize that you had pretty much a business and even a calling to become an investigator? When did that finally, when was that aha moment for you?
Well, as I worked, as I got into, the law enforcement and Passaic Police, that was almost a year time. And it was a political appointment. I had gotten another job there as a senior clerk typist, which I couldn't even type. But, I did what I took, and I was able to handle the job there until finally I got involved with, the police department there. And then that was a political appointment, and, things went out where I ended up exiting out from there. I got married, moved out to California, and when you go, you lose everything out here. And then I was there for 3.5 years. I didn't like it after being there for 3.5 months. But I had no choice because, it's a big move. And then finally I moved out to Florida, and that was for a security consultant for this particular company. The company's called Jesus Behind Bars. And then there were some issues there that I wasn't pleased with the way certain management and issues that were going on, and I decided to exit out there and come back to Jersey.
I always feel that when those things happen, when you start feeling that discomfort, is God telling you it's time to go, the assignment is over.
Exactly.
So, our path, oftentimes we're in situations where we're uncomfortable or unhappy, and then we blame it on the situation or blame it on the it was my boss, or is the way that they manage, and the reality is that when it doesn't fit anymore, it's because God is moving you out.
True.
So,
unless you come into a situation where they're either doing illegal, activities, and you don't want to be part of it.
God is still moving you out.
That's what will move you out very quickly.
Yeah, God is still moving you out. Yeah. So okay. So you work for them in Florida, but you're back. Or at what point did you come back to New Jersey?
Over a little over 10 months.
That's quite unusual. I just want you to know. Most of the time when people move out of New York or New Jersey, this Northeast area, it's very hard if they ever come back. Like most of the time they never come back. For whatever reason, I don't know. It could be financial, it could be, but people very rarely come back. And you came back. What made you come back?
Well, the reason I came back is because I figured out this way. I've been at other states. I don't have all the contacts that I had in the state of New Jersey that I'm not going to find. I'll have to rebuild myself within, who knows, it could take 5-10 years. And I didn't want to wait for that. I believe time is of the essence. And I wanted to use that time wisely instead of trying to rebuild my whole life again. So I decided to move back to New Jersey. And as I came back, I started reconnecting with all my contacts.
Okay. All right. So you moved back. Did you immediately start the investigation firm,
Well, guess what happened? I started a little business. It was called Alpha Omega Legal Services. Unbeknownst to myself, I didn't know that I couldn't do investigations. I started doing investigations for law firms, and they're very high-end law firms, super lawyer type law firms, and after some months I was getting even, they were sending me requests of doing this, doing that, photograph work and all that, and I didn't know that I had to be licensed. And I found out afterwards.
They were attorneys. They never told you this?
They never asked me. They assumed, because I guess it comes down to the way you present yourself, how you come into the law firm, and how you explain what you do.
Right.
And they work for a law firm too. So when they knew that I knew what I needed to do, then why would they question that?
Oh my goodness!
I started saying, "Wow, this is something I need to look into." So I started looking into it, and I spoke to someone. They said, "You have to be licensed to do that." And I was like, "What?" Because you can get into some serious trouble. And I also spoke to a state trooper about it, and he says, "Michael, you need to stop."
These are things that we need to know when we're in business.
Yes.
And I love that lesson, because of course, as a foresight strategist, I work with a lot of businesses, and especially small businesses. it's not just about hanging a shingle.
Yeah,
Sometimes
right.
you need a whole lot more than that.
That's right.
So yeah, all right. So then tell me your story. So then you
So I learned
started.
quickly. I
Yeah,
learned quickly,
I bet.
of course, quit that, because you got to do things right.
Okay.
So later on down the road, I then started applying for this, another firm. And this was I think the 2 office firm in New York and New Jersey to do surveillances investigations. And, the guy put me on the case for like 4 days. And
You were in the process of becoming licensed?
that's to get into the field, because you want to get into the field the right way. It's very difficult to get into the field as a PI.
Okay.
A lot of people want to be PIs, but it's not easy. I give opportunities to people today, but for others, they don't do that. So for me, you either have to, what I did was I ended up getting involved with this company. The guy, just cut me off after 4 days and stopped calling me. And I said, why is he doing that? So I called the guy, and he says, well, there's no work. I says, okay, well, let me know when there is. So several weeks go by, and then I see an ad in the paper, and I decided to say, what's going on? I thought you said that you didn't have any work. He goes,
Right.
Are you investigating me? And I was like really taken back. It says, investigating you? Why would I want to do that for?
Right.
I'm just looking for work. I'm honestly looking for work in the field of investigations. Well, he got upset with me. He basically cut me off, and then I says, okay. 3 months later, I went with another firm. It's called A+ Investigations, and I worked with them. But of course, I worked with them for like a year and a half. I did extremely well with them. I was probably, I would consider one of the best investigators. And then shortly after that, I went with another investigator who was subcontracted with them, and basically was making way more money with him and less hours.
Okay.
And I did extremely well for 5.5 years with him. So
Okay.
you have to establish a period of time in order for you to get a license. You just can't get a license just because you want it.
Okay.
Or apply
So
for it.
how long did it take you to get this license?
Well, it normally takes 5 years, including law enforcement experience and any investigative experience that I have as an investigator for a law firm, which I did. And even though I reached that period of time, but I wanted a little bit more. I just wanted to get more experience, which I did.
Okay.
I could have applied for it earlier, but I didn't. So finally, a couple of years after the fact, they said, okay, let me apply for it. So it was like in 2008, I applied for it, and I went through clear, because you have to do a serious background check, federal, state, you have the whole 9 yards on
Right.
you. And
They investigate you too.
And very thoroughly.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
okay, yeah. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. So the investigator gets investigated.
Yes, before being the licensed investigator.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of investigation. Okay, so you get licensed, and do you immediately go off on your own, or do you stay with the firm a little longer?
Well, I do a little bit with them, but at this point I started doing some research. I got involved with doing some research with a project that I have a passion for. That's the alternative wellness area, and that's another project that we can talk
we'll
about.
talk about. Yeah, well, we'll definitely want to talk about
Yeah.
that. We'll probably talk about that a little bit at the end, because it's very interesting what you're doing. So, so you started your firm in 2000 what?
Well, in 2008, I established it after I got the license. Because
Okay.
I already established a company before that. It was called Martinberg and Associates. And I used that to get deductions for myself, because a lot of the companies wouldn't pay you for the mileage. That's why one of the reasons why I left A+, because they didn't want to pay me for my mileage. I probably lost like $15,000. But what I did in order to really gain it was to establish a company. And as I established a company, that gave me the upper hand to get write-offs for
The
anything that I
leverage,
need for the business, anything related to the business. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you started investigations, and at this point, I'll be honest with you, the first real live investigator that I've ever met, other than Columbo, but he was in real life, and so you always have this, right? You always have these ideas of people like Columbo being the investigator, and yet you do very, very interesting things. I mean, well, everybody knows about the infidelity, because that you do, but for me, namely, what has really fascinated me was the fact that all of the surveillance and the research that you do on cell phones, iPads, computer forensics, like I didn't realize that an investigator had the power to do that. Like, I thought that was the police department. So I never saw that as one and the same with investigators. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, when we do get licensed, we're licensed through the state and through the basically what monitors us is a special department within the state police.
Okay.
They are the detective unit, and for the state police, they are the ones that are monitoring us. And you just, that's where the caliber changes right there. Now, your point was you wanted to find out what other point you wanted to find out.
Well, my question was, I never knew that an investigator actually did the cell phone and the iPad,
Yes.
that kind of like research and investigation,
Yes.
where you're actually you get information based on someone's cell phone.
Yes.
I thought that was private, especially, and this is where I was super, like, it really piqued my interest when you explained to me that you can even do this with an iPhone, which I thought iPhones were like untouchable. Untouchable, yeah. Well, that's the word on the street, right?
Yeah. Well, of course. Yes, we do have the ability to extract any deleted messages, videos, texts, or anything that has been deleted on these phones. Now, it is very important that I explain why we can do it and who we can do it for.
Okay.
Let's say, for example, you may have an issue and saying, well, Michael, I locked myself out of my phone. We can decode it. We get the code, the password. Or you say, I dropped my phone. It's cracked. I need to get access to all this data here, but Verizon can't do it, or whoever your carrier cannot do it. Well, we'll say, let's help you with that. We can extract everything out of there, and then we can always transfer it on to another, phone or computer or wherever, or the hard drive.
Okay.
Or we can extract a report, which every phone calls, everything that was text and email, anything that you've had communication, WhatsApp and everything else that everybody is using, the WhatsApp apps, they call them. And we will be able to extract these things so that way you can use them. Now, what's also beneficial is if you're married, gives it even more the right for the wife or the husband to extract all that juicy information. And I mean juicy information. And many people are not aware that we can do it. The only time you cannot extract the information is if they did a reset, a factory reset on the phone. But most people are not going to do that. If they have all their contacts and everything in there, they're not going to do it unless they're doing something that they know they shouldn't be doing.
Okay. Then tell me about the drone surveillance.
Okay. Drone surveillance is used when we cannot get to a particular area. Say, for example, you have someone that has committed insurance fraud. And let's say this particular person does house cleaning, but she's going to an estate. And it's it has gates. It's gated. We have no access. We cannot see her doing the labor, the work. We bring the drones out there, and high above, they go up a mile or so above in a distance, and then we can videotape in high definition exactly what they're doing regarding their work chores, and especially if they do it outside. But those are used for different circumstances. Or if they're committing adultery, we can have access to certain properties. And the only thing we cannot do is go into their home, videotape in their home, even if we see them in an act of whatever it may be, infidelity or whatever, they're cleaning, whatever the case may be.
In their home, inside the home.
You cannot videotape from the outside in. If they're outside the patio, they're up to public, yes, we can videotape as much as we want. And even though it's on their property, but we're up in the air.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So, wow, you guys are super techie.
Oh, yes.
And the other thing that to me is phenomenal. You're super techie, and you're really up with the times. You're very innovative. You're very creative in your methods of doing investigations.
Yes.
So, where do you see your business 5 years from now?
Well, in 5 years, I've already talked to the guy that I worked for 5.5 years. He has a well-established business, and we've already been talking about me basically purchasing his business. I want to buy him out.
Okay.
He's retired, as a Port Authority cop, and then he has his business, and then he's going to retire from the PI business. So I want to, we're good friends. So he told me I'll give you the offers first.
But in terms of investigations and then the trends and the direction that investigations are going, are you monitoring that? Are you watching that? Do you see where you guys have to up your game, or are you actually watching that?
Yes, I am. I also get publications relating to our field. I always keep up to date as to what's going on. But what we're seeing is that the forensics is the specialty that we do have is growing. I mean, incredibly. Also, social media, which is another area that we are expanding and is growing. Right now, there's technology that's coming up where if you have a photo of somebody and you don't know who this person is, we can take, now it's going to happen within the next 3 months, you can take this person's photo, scan it, send it into this particular database that we have just for PIs or law enforcement, and it goes through all the different pictures and the names for, we're talking about however thousands, because now they have facial recognition.
All facial recognition, right.
So that picks up the person, and all of a sudden, boom, is the name who this person is, and then with that we can then connect to do further investigation.
There are no secrets in the world.
No
secrets in the world.
Not at all.
Okay, so you can focus more on the Latino community, and I want you to explain to me why. Why is that kind of your focal point? I know you can do this for anyone, but that has been your focal point. Explain to me why.
Yeah, the reason why I believe that it's important that we do help the Latinos is because they're not familiar with the technologies and with the services that we provide. And we like to educate them as to what we can do for them, especially when it has to do with an infidelity. They become extremely amazed when we tell them, we can do this or we can do that, and they're like, yeah, because we also track them too. When we're doing surveillances, as long as it's a marital issue, it cannot be you're going to track somebody because it's a friend. You cannot do that; it's illegal. But if it's a marital relationship, we can put GPSs on them, track them in combination with all the other technologies that we use together to be able to get a solid grasp as to who and what they are and where they're going with their relationship.
So let me ask you, what are some of the signs of cheating?
Oh, the signs of cheating is when they're on their phone too much. They try to cover their, delete a lot of things, put a password on their phone, where they are basically out. They go out, stay late. When they say, "Oh, I'm going to work 5 hours later. I have this project," or when they, especially, this difference is between men and women, though.
Okay, that was the next question. Right. No, it's men that cheat most, right?
No,
I know that.
Well, it used to be. It used to be mostly the men used to be the cheaters.
Really?
It was at one point it was 75-25. Now it's 50-50.
Really?
Yes. The women are very good at it.
Wow.
And the thing is that the women already get dressed. They're ready to put perfume on. They're already not only in the gym. They're already taking care of themselves. So the odds of him knowing if she's doing something are very slim, unless she literally leaves her phone open with the text messages with the relationship going on.
Wow.
He will never know. But a man, normally, he would just say, it's time to go to the gym. He hasn't been in the gym like 20 years. And all of a sudden, yes, exactly. And starting to buy new clothes, and per cologne, and then all of a sudden, I need to get another haircut. Things start to change, and that's when we start getting those little signs like that. There are many others, but that's one of them.
Okay. So, I want to talk about trackers and those hidden cameras in the homes. I know a lot of people are using these. Are these legal? Can people use these? And
well,
why?
Trackers and hidden cameras are two different topics in itself.
Okay, so let's talk about one at a time.
The trackers. Trackers can, as I said before, can only be used in a situation with a relationship or a son or daughter. So say, for example, you have a son and daughter. They're going to go out. They say, "Mom, I'm going to go out with Mary." Okay? And all of a sudden, he says, Mary lives around, a couple miles, but you know where she lives. And, she's like wondering, she's going to Mary's house or she's going to Steve's house. Okay? So trackers will basically be able to detect where is it that she's going. Okay. We will know literally almost to like 50 feet to a point of where they're at. how fast she drives, where she stops, how long she stopped, what day it was, the time exactly, and returning back. We could do it easily, 4 to 5 days, get a whole record of that. And
So that's tracking.
that's doing the tracking, but it can be used with the daughters. She can use it with her husband, or her husband can use it on the wife. I got both. I have both now.
So basically, it's for family members.
Yes, it cannot be
It has
used.
to be. It cannot be used for a friend
right,
or.
Right. It is illegal.
Can somebody do it with somebody that they're like living with?
No.
If they're not legally married?
No. That's a no-no, because there's not a legal bond of them being married. So they have to be married in order for it to be used.
Wow.
Because it would be illegal. They could turn around and say, you are following me. It could be harassment. It could be stalking. They could turn all sorts of different things around. Because sooner or later, that party is going to know who is following them, and all of a sudden they show up wherever they're at. And says, "How did you know I was there?"
Okay. Very interesting. Okay. So now let's talk about those hidden cameras.
Yes. Hidden cameras can be of all types. They can be things that you don't even think.
Bear.
They could be bear. They could be
Yeah.
on a shaving cream bottle. They can be almost any object. We have the
Is
technology.
that seriously? Is that legal? Because that's to me is so uncomfortable.
Invasive, yes.
And extremely
Yes,
invasive.
invasive.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The privacy of your home. You want to be comfortable.
Yes.
So, is that? Tell me, why would anybody do that?
Well, if it's in your own home, you can put cameras in your home. It's legal to do that.
Okay.
If you have these major companies out there, they can tell you, you can put a camera in the entranceway. You can put, you
Okay.
can do all those things. You cannot put them in bedrooms. You cannot put them in bathrooms. We've had a case where one guy decided to buy hidden cameras, and I advised him to be careful where he put it at, and he did not want to heed my advice.
Okay.
He ended up putting it it was a vacation home in another state. He ended up putting in the bathrooms and the bedrooms, and lo and behold, what ended up happening was that he did catch his wife in infidelity, but he also caught some children. He also caught some other ladies using the bathroom, and that became a nightmare.
I can just imagine.
Okay, so the cops got involved, and he was going to get arrested. He had to go to court. The problem was that his wife, her boyfriend, and nobody knew this, I guess only because of the video, was doing drugs, and he did not know it, but he was doing it in the bathroom. So he got caught. The cops called her boyfriend. So, it was a double whammy. So she tried to get her husband, for it, but then she got her boyfriend also at the same time.
Wow.
So that's why it's very dangerous. The only thing, you can have cameras in your home, it's okay. And you can, because you might need a nanny cam. You're going to have someone taking care of your child.
That part I get.
Yeah, that's
part
safe.
I get.
And and you can control that online. They won't know, but you will know. Okay. If we do those. Okay. But in regards to your privacy, that is an issue. Now they can have little cameras in your home. You'll be surprised how small they are. They can be almost small as a wire, but connected to a little device, and that could transmit it as long as it has a battery support. It can be installed almost anywhere, and then you won't know, and they can view you from wherever part of the world. But the thing is, this is where we come in, because we do electronic sweeps. As electronic sweeps, we go into your home, business, we do corporate, and we do also residential, and to be able to find these bugs, they call them electric bugs or cameras. And by the time everything is said and done, we provide a report. It was found, this was found, or this wasn't found. Okay. So that way, this is one way to give that peace of mind to our clients.
Okay. So, what are the last words? What are the thoughts that you want to leave with the audience? What do you want them to take away? And I also want your website. Mm-hmm. But what are the takeaways? Why would you hire an investigator? When is it appropriate? And what is the takeaway?
Well, that was a mouthful.
Sorry about that.
Different questions.
No. What is the takeaway at the end? Yeah.
Well, the takeaway is peace of mind. And that is what we like to provide, peace of mind to our clients.
I love that.
And aside from that, is to know that you're dealing with a group of professionals that are there to help you out every step of the way. I'm very, very close with my clients. They become friends. Most of my clients become friends. The ones that don't become friends, are the ones that are embarrassed of their circumstances as we find out that they're with somebody else. Even though some of them that we found out that they're with somebody else, some of them, I have very close ties with them. Good clients, they come in. Again, I have repeat clients that come in because they want this service and they want that service. But my point is to provide them peace of mind. If they have that peace of mind, to me, awesome. I know I'm doing my job, and this is my field. I'm an expert at doing what I do very well.
Awesome.
So that's what I want to basically leave for my clients. Okay. Let them know that if they need any of our services, because we do have a website, it would provide you with the many services that we didn't even speak about.
In English and in Spanish.
Well, we have it. The website is in English, but they also have a tab that they can click on, which they can click into Espanol. They can have Espanol. Mm-hmm. So the website is www.aratedpi.com. And on that site, you can certainly click onto the Spanish section. It's probably Espanol. And then you can connect right in the Spanish website. We have 40 pages of website each. So,
that's a lot to read.
Yes, a lot to read. But you know something? When individuals don't have the education or information as to what we can do, right. It's always good to let them know and that we can provide them this service or that service, because then they know, wow, I didn't know we could do this. I didn't know we could do that. And that makes them feel secure. Okay. And that's why we want to give them the security to know that we can do almost anything today.
Okay.
Of course, usually with the law. Everything has to be done with the law.
Beautiful. So they want to get a hold of you, and this is namely you do this in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, I'm licensed in the state of New Jersey. If a case comes to me from New York, I refer to another PI in New York that I already have my own contacts in New York, other licensed PIs.
Beautiful.
And then, we work with them.
So, and then again, and you can probably do this like tri-state or even further, because you know other investigators
Correct.
that you can connect people with. Okay, so you've given us a lot of information on investigations and how they go about and what you do and how do you do it, and I love it. And so they want to get a hold of you. Where? Give me your website.
Yeah, the website again is www.aratedpi.com. And the address is 10 Forest Avenue, suite number 6, and that's in Paramus, New Jersey, 07652. And you can call me at 201-674-9609. We're there to provide you the peace of mind that you need, so feel free to call us whenever, even if you want to talk to us. I do provide a 30-minute free consultation time for my clients, and that's more than sufficient amount of time for them to get an idea of what they want to do.
Okay, fabulous. So I want to thank you. Michael, for coming and for being here and sharing this information, which I think is awesome. Again, I love it. So I look forward to seeing you again, and I want to thank you. Okay, so that ends this segment of Dr. Nilda Business Foresight Show.